This is 3FM.
I was prompted to run because I think that the negotiations post-Brexit are one of the most critical times in the Isle of Man's history, and I want to help ensure that we get those negotiations right. But I don't think it's about gender, male and female. It would be great to see more women in Parliament, and it's great that there's more women now standing. Maintaining or increasing the number of residents coming to the island, living here, contributing to the economy. I think also recruiting teachers and retaining teachers so that we have the best education for our young people. I think also on a constituency level, we need to dredge the rivers. We need to make sure that the infrastructure is in place so that it's not causing floods again. And also on a basic level, for instance, at Laxey Beach, I want to see the complete stopping of discharging raw effluent into the sea that gets on the beaches. And the Isle of Man, when the tourism is so important, we need to make sure we've got clean beaches. I think tourism is one of our greatest industries potentially, because we have everything going for it. The Isle of Man being named a biosphere in its entirety. We've got the heritage, we have the landscape, we have the natural beauty, we have coast, we have hills, we have walking, we have coasteering. We've got so much going for the Isle of Man from its wildlife, and of course not only heritage but the fantastic heritage transport network. The Isle of Man, the biggest thing we've got is making people aware of it and getting them here. But tourism is the potentially great industry of the future, as it was previously, and for many reasons. The UK decision to leave Europe is one of the most significant events facing the Isle of Man, and it's going to take a long time before they complete their negotiations. What the Isle of Man has to do is make sure that we are talking to the people who are having that conversation, and that the Isle of Man's interests are known, and that we negotiate how the Isle of Man will trade in future at the time those negotiations are going on. And that needs a lot of diplomacy, it needs a lot of conversation, and we need to be having those conversations now. One of the biggest difficulties the Isle of Man's had is the reduction in budget that's had a real squeeze on departments. I've worked in government for 20 years. I've worked in the good times when there was a lot of money around and there was funding for things we wanted to do. And I've worked and seen it over the years get cutbacks and cutbacks and cutbacks, and departments are now very squeezed. There aren't loads of administrators, there's not lots of people, there are just fewer people working really efficiently and doing a lot. The trouble is that the pensions black hole is a real threat to the Isle of Man, and both the state pension and the public sector pension. And when you're talking that the public sector pension has debts, I think it was last year over £63 million, and in the future some of that might need to be funded, that might take money away from services that the public use, then that's something that we really have to get right and reduce the impact on the island and the community. I think that there's been a lot of initiatives to try to generate more business, and that's what we need to do, because only by generating more income can we benefit the Isle of Man and pay for the services that we want to see. I think we have to have less regulation, lighter touch. I think government needs to listen to business to see what it is that business wants, to be able to give them the freedom to flourish, to use the slogan that government's always had. Actually, that's a really good aim if they can put the regimes in place, light touch, that don't prevent that happening. I think the industry, what we need, I suppose, to make the Isle of Man succeed is to be a place where we have the young people, the young graduates returning to the Isle of Man because there are jobs for them, that there are, I think that nanotechnology, things that are small, that the Isle of Man's location isn't going to prevent. We need, it comes back to the negotiations with the EU again. We need to get the Isle of Man's ability to trade in place so that whatever industries we have can succeed and thrive, and we need to make sure that everything, it's a very fine balance to make sure that people want to work here, that there's a fair and a low taxation, and that people have jobs that the industries are growing, and then the success story is that once you get the regime right, the business will follow.
More music for the Isle of Man.
3FM.